Undercarriage. The undercarriage is required to maneuver the aircraft on ground. It consists of two supporting devices: the main landing gear and the nose landing gear or tail wheel in older version of the aircraft. The first mentioned pair of supporting devices, for example, the main landing gear, is attached to the underside of the forward part of the fuselage, normally below the wings, and is fitted with wheels to roll the aircraft on ground. Normally, the undercarriage is built with shock-absorbing mechanisms to minimize the impact of touchdown, landing. This latter supporting device is either mounted at the extreme rear end of the fuselage, known as tail wheel, which is not retractable, or mounted under the nose part of the fuselage, known as nose landing gear, and can be retracted. The aircraft fitted with nose landing gear is known to be fitted with a tricycle undercarriage. The aircraft fitted with tricycle undercarriage have an advantage over those fitted with a tail wheel is that it provides better cockpit visibility during takeoff and landing, as the aircraft acquires a near horizontal attitude then. Wheel brakes. Except for some basic trainer-type aircraft, the rest are fitted with wheel brakes. These are provided only for the main landing gear and are applied for three basic maneuverings of the aircraft on ground, such as to stop it, to reduce its speed, and to turn it. The brake pedals are purposefully mounted on the rudder bar in the cockpit to achieve an easier turning of the aircraft on ground. Engine. The engine supplies the required power to the aircraft to move forward and is therefore also known as the power plant. For single-engine aircraft, the engine is frequently mounted on the nose of the fuselage, while in case of multi-engine aircraft, the engines are commonly attached to the wings. There are aircraft which have the engines mounted on their tail part also. However, though the engines might be positioned at any of the previously mentioned locations, the sole intention and utilization of the engines, for example to supply power to the aircraft to move forward, remain unaffected. Every aircraft engine has its propeller, which rotates to provide the airstream to initiate the needed thrust for flying the aircraft. For internal combustion and turboprop engines, the propellers are positioned outside the engine cover and are discreetly visible. For turbojet or turbofan engines, the whole system remains within the engine casing. Propeller. This is a rotating aerofoil structure cranked by the aircraft engine. The engine shaft torque, twisting or rotating force, converts to generate forward thrust by the rotating propeller blades that move the aircraft forward. The direction of the achieved thrust is almost perpendicular to the plane of rotation of the propeller, which is also known as air screw. If the propeller rotates vertically, the thrust achieved for the aircraft's movement is horizontal. Stick or control column. The stick, commonly known as joystick, is located at the middle and in front of the flyer's seat. The flyer keeps his or her legs one on each side of the stick. While on the flight, the movement of the stick towards the nose or towards the tail, meaning pushed away or pulled towards the flyer respectively, with a longitudinal movement, moves the elevators up or down respectively, causing the aircraft to descend or to climb, respectively again. The said stick movement thus causes the pitching effect of the aircraft. The lateral, side-to-side, movement of the stick operates the ailerons and produces the rolling effect of the aircraft. Throttles. The throttles control and regulate the power of aircraft engines and thus provide the required thrust for the aircraft movement. These possess the same utility as of an automobile's accelerator or a boat's throttle. Basically, the throttle controls the amount of fuel or fuel-air mixture that is fed to the engines. These are levers that can be pushed forward, away from the flyer, or towards the nose of the aircraft, to supply more fuel-air mixture to the engines to increase power, and are pulled back from its advanced position towards the flyer, later, to reduce the power. Each engine has its individual throttle. Auxiliary Power Unit, APU. This unit generates AC or DC power that is utilized for the functioning of the systems like air conditioning, hydraulics, electrical and avionics, in the absence of power supply from the engines and all the external sources. In addition, this is used for starting the engines and provides limited thrust to the aircraft in case of emergency. Escape hatch. This is an easily removable portion or cover on the fuselage structure of the aircraft, available to allow a speedy exit for passengers and crew members in emergency. Escape slide. This inflatable device constructs a sloping path from the aircraft door to the ground for a speedy exit of the passengers and crew members from the aircraft during emergency evacuation. Safety harness or seat belt. These are a set of straps that hold the occupant on the aircraft seat. Landing light. These are the lights from which high-intensity beams fall in front of the aircraft for a clear view of the runway, while coming in for a landing, moving for takeoff and during taxiing. These light beams also serve a purpose of indicating the presence of the aircraft to the pilots of other aircraft and helps in scaring away the birds near the flight path at low altitudes. Thrust reverser. This device, placed in the tailpipe of a turbojet engine, deflects some portion of the exhaust gases that was directed towards the opposite direction to that of the motion of the aircraft, to render the necessary force to move the aircraft forward towards the direction of the movement of the aircraft to oppose its movement while on ground, to reduce the speed of the aircraft. The normal exhaust gases that would have provided the forward motion, or the thrust to the aircraft, is reversed by this mechanism or process to effect a drag instead. The process, known as thrust reversal, can be achieved by moving the thrust reverser levers, one for each engine like throttles, in the cockpit.